What is going on, everyone? I hope you are all doing well and had an amazing weekend. I had a great one myself, especially because the NFL season just kicked off and I'm a huge Raider fan, and we got the season started off right with a win, so I hope all you guys out there, your favorite teams are doing well this season too. And let me know what your favorite football team is down in the comments below, especially if you're a fan of the Raider Nation. And before we get into today's content, I just wanted to say a huge thank you to everyone that responded positively to Friday's video about the Patreon and my health concerns and everything. So many of you came out and supported the Patreon and, became a part of that. So keep an eye out on the Patreon if you are now a supporter for, future updates and posts on there, especially the monthly vlogs and everything. I'm going to be doing a lot of content over there, updating you guys on the weight loss and how everything is going with that. I'm currently doing an intermittent fasting diet for like the next week or so. I started drinking this T-Tox stuff, which doesn't really taste great. It kind of tastes like bong water, if I'm being honest, but it's helping though. It's helping to curb the appetite, and I'm feeling really great. But today we're going to be focusing on Vega 56 yet again. We're going to be seeing if this graphics card can ultra wide. We're going to just ask that question. Hey, Vega 56, can you even ultra wide, bro? So we're going to be doing that. We're going to be testing at 3440 by 1440 as well as 2560 by 1080 as requested by many of you out there who had, when I had mentioned I was going to be testing this card at ultra wide, you wanted to see the 2560 by 1080 numbers as well. So I'm not going to be disappointing you, and we are going to be testing on all of those numbers. For the Vega 56, I was using my reference card on the latest driver from AMD, which is 17.9.1, and I had that in my frame rate build, which is sitting behind me somewhere over there. I don't know if you can see. There it is. It's right there. It's back there. Believe me. Believe me. It's a huge system, maybe the biggest case I've ever seen, and it's sitting right behind me. Believe me. Okay, so I had it in the frame rate build with the i7 7700K, of course, which is overclocked to 5 gigahertz along with 16 gigabytes of G-Skill Trident Z RAM at 3200 megahertz. As far as clock speeds on the Vega 56, I had it at the same settings that I did in my initial review as well as my overclocking video. If you missed that, you can go back and check those out. But basically what it boils down to is the card is undervolted and it is overclocked. The core clock regularly sits around 1590 megahertz. It does fluctuate a bit based on temperatures and what the game is doing and all of that, but usually around 1590 to 1600 megahertz in there on the core clock. Memory is locked at 900 megahertz, so that's an additional 100 megahertz on what the card ships at, and I do increase the fan speeds and everything to try to help keep the card as cool as possible, but that gives us good, stable performance on the Vega 56, and paired up with the 7700K, we shouldn't really run into any CPU bottlenecks in any of the games that I did test here. And I did test 8 games in total, mostly modern titles, a couple of a little bit older ones, but mostly modern popular titles. If you have any recommendations on games you would like to see me test in future benchmarking videos, especially graphics card comparisons and things like that, let me know down in the comments below. I would love your feedback. If there's any games I haven't been including in the testing so far in recent videos that you would like to see added in, let me know down in the comments, and I will certainly take them under consideration. But the Vega 56 at ultra wide actually did really well. I tested in all of these games at the high preset, and in the majority of these titles here, it didn't go below 60, even at 3440 by 1440. Now, that wasn't the case in every single game, but it was in most of them. Titles like Battlefield 1 ran absolutely amazing at both 3440 by 1440 as well as 2560 by 1080. So just absolutely killing it at the high preset on ultra-wide in games like Battlefield 1, Metro Last Light Redux, Prey, Rainbow Six Siege, Sniper Elite 4, Rising Storm 2, all of these games just running absolutely incredible on the Vega 56 graphics card, so no issues there with running 3440 by 1440. Obviously, 2560 by 1080 is going to be an even easier resolution for you to run if that's something you want to do. If you wanted to pick up like a 2560 by 1080 200 hertz monitor, something high-end FreeSync, those of course are available out there. I was running on the Pixio PX347C Prime, which is their newest ultra-wide monitor. It's 3440 by 1440, 100 hertz. It's got FreeSync. Not the best range on the FreeSync at 80 to 100 hertz, but for an ultra-wide display, this size, 34 inches and all of that, and it's only $599. Really not too much to scoff at about this monitor apart from the FreeSync range and everything like that. And if you want to see a full review on that, one will be going up on the channel later this week, so make sure you're subscribed for that content. As I mentioned, most of these games here ran really darn well. Rainbow Six Siege, which is really currently my favorite game, you'd have a lot of headroom in that title and many of these others here to go ahead and probably increase the graphics options even up to Ultra, maybe knock down a couple things to high like shadows, ambient occlusion, but most of everything in here you should be able to kick up to Ultra in most of these games here. The couple of exceptions were Ghost Recon Wildlands, which got an average of 59 FPS at 344 by 1440, and at 2560 by 1080 got an average of 80 FPS, so you could probably increase your graphics options a little bit there if you're on the lower resolution, but at the higher resolution, you're probably going to want to maybe even kick down a couple of more options to get the smoothest experience that you can. And PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, that also had an average below 60 at the higher resolution here, getting 57 FPS, but still ran the game quite well at high settings. And if you're trying to play that game competitively, you're probably going to lower a bunch of options anyway, especially like shadows and foliage, and really just kind of increase textures and draw distance. Those are really kind of the more important ones in that particular title. I know most people that play it seriously usually knock down a lot of the options anyway. Taking a look at the 1% lows, that story continues across the board here, where even at the highest resolution, the only games that really struggled to stay up at 60 were Ghost Recon Wildlands and PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, but all the other games here were up above 60. Battlefield 1, Metro Last Light Redux, Prey, Rainbow Six Siege, Sniper Elite 4, and Rising Storm 2 all ran incredibly well on the Vega 56 graphics card, which should tell you that if you are considering picking up one of these cards to run ultra-wide resolution, even, like I said, the higher resolution of 3440 by 1440, you should be okay, especially at the high preset. If you want to play at Ultra, there are many games on here that you could even go ahead and bump it up to Ultra if you wanted to do that. But at high, you're going to get a very smooth experience, and with the particular monitor I was using, it stayed pretty close to that range of 80 to 100 hertz, although not perfect all of the time. So I play with VSync off usually, and that's what I find gives me the smoothest experience. So your mileage may vary on that. If you're looking to pick one of these up and you want to play with VSync on with FreeSync, it's probably not going to be great once you go down below that 80 hertz range. But as I said, we'll talk about all of that in the final review. But just final summation on Vega 56 is that it can kill it at ultra wide at the high preset Ultra. You'll probably have maybe just knock a couple things down there for the higher resolution, but 2560 by 1080 should not be an issue in any of the games that I tested, and probably most other modern titles out there, as many of these games like Ghost Recon Wildlands are some of the more taxing games available right now. So Vega 56 is crushing it, and if you can get one of these cards for what their MSRP is at $399, then I can highly recommend it, as I've done extensive testing already in the past against the GTX 1070 at 16:9 resolutions. We just know that this card is better and faster than the GTX 1070. It just really depends on what you can pay for this card at retail. The only one that I could find on Amazon right now was selling for $585, and they only had one available in stock. I'm hopeful that is going to change once the add-in board partner cards become available from companies like Asus, Gigabyte, Sapphire, and all of them. So hopefully once we have some more stock available, these prices can normalize a little bit, because at the MSRP of $400, the Vega 56 is a monster graphics card, and the 1070 loses to it pretty much across the board. And if you bump it up to like DirectX 12, it's going to be doing even better against the NVIDIA counterparts. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments below on this testing and what you'd like to see me do in the future, so I can, kind of take that under consideration for future videos. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like on it down below, and subscribe if you're not already. And if you already subscribed, you can hit that notification bell to find out when I'm uploading new videos like this one. And I will catch you guys next time. Peace. Wait, that's not peace, that's a thumbs up. I meant to go peace. Something like that. Something along those lines. Peace. I don't know.